ASMR with Mr. Mr. Seamus. How are you doing today during this holiday season? Well, I hope you're doing as well as possible. Today we're going to be doing we're going to be having some die-hard fun. We got some holiday pecan puffs, which you can enjoy with me at home as we read. Die-hard Christmas. Okay. Before we start the festivities, let's begin by practicing our breathing. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Let's breathe all the way down into your lower abdomen. Good, good. And now that we're nice and centered, I'm going to start by appreciating some of these pecan puffs. And for me, these are a holiday favorite cookie. Basically, what it is it's a pecan cookie that's been baked, pecan dough, okay, that's been baked and dipped in powdered sugar, confectionery sugar, okay. And some people might think they're dry. Um, Certainly, you could have that opinion. I drink it with plenty of milk, so no problem there. Um, that's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Um, but for me, it's about, I think one thing about holiday cookies is nostalgia. It's flavor, it's nostalgia, and it brings you back to holidays um, you've had in the past, and there are a lot of good memories around having your pecan puffs. You know, now the history of the pecan puffs could be, I think it goes back to the Depression days. Cookies like these were good to make because didn't need to be, they could be stored at room temperature, and they were easy items to get during the time. And I believe that's what I know. Now, if you're a master of the pecan puffs and have a lot of knowledge about them, feel free to challenge my knowledge about it in the comments. You very well could be right. But anyway, without further ado, I'm going to sample one of these. They're also a little bit messy. Okay. mind if I do? Let it snow. Let it snow. Put me in a very, very good mood. Very, very good mood. All right. Now we have the Die Hard Christmas. Okay. All right. Die Hard Christmas. Twas the night before Christmas, and up in the tower, everyone was partying except one wallflower. John McClane missed his wife. Things just weren't the same since Holly had moved west and changed her last name. You can see here that the last name's changed from McClane to Gennaro, Director, Corporate Affairs. He tried to win her back, but still she said no. While unbeknownst to them, there was trouble below. A truck had pulled up, and who should disembark but 14 men whose intentions were dark. You see the truck coming in here, and you got these characters coming out of here, okay? They spoke not a word and unloaded big crates. They cut the phone lines and locked all the gates. Carl swept the ground floor, shooting every guard dead, while visions of bearer bonds danced in his head. You can see Carl here getting quite violent with the guards in the building. John took off his shoes, making fists with his toes, It actually worked. Well, what do you know? When out in the lobby there arose such a clatter, he sprang to the door to see what was the matter. You can see John here taking a look at some of the crackling rounds that are going off at the party outside. When what to his wandering eyes should appear, holy crap, there are terrorists here. You can see the terrorists just kind of, firing off rounds and pulling people out of their offices and moving them into a safe area out in the hall. John hid under a table where no one could see and watched Hans question Mr. Takagi. I'm going to count to 3. There will not be a 4. Give me the codes to open the vault door. And you can see Hans is very enthusiastic to get this code. I don't know the code, so go ahead and shoot. Okay, said Hans Gruber, and ruined Takagi's suit. John tried to call the cops by pulling the alarm, but instead called the bad guys who tried to cause him harm. And you can see one of the terrorists has come up here to find John pulling the alarm. But John killed Tony, who had very small feet, and sent him to the terrorists as a Yuletide treat. He put a Santa hat on the German, and eyes all aglow, wrote, "Now I have a machine gun, ho, ho, ho." You can see he wrote on Mr. Tony, the "Now I have the machine gun, ho, ho, ho," in red marker. Carl was furious. Tony was his brother. He chased John across the roof, and they shot at each other. John was able to escape through the ventilation shafts. "Come out to the coast," he sighed. "We'll have a few laughs." You can see John is experiencing his first time out on the West Coast and enjoying himself. At Nakatomi Tower, Sergeant Powell appeared. He checked the whole lobby and saw nothing weird. He was pulling away but didn't get for Marco landed on the hood of his car. Powell drove away backwards, screaming in fright. "Welcome to the party, pal," John yelled with delight. So you can see one of the terrorists had to be thrown onto the cop car so as to make sure that he didn't leave without letting other people know that there was a problem here at the Nakatomi Plaza. More police arrived, the FBI and SWAT team, but Hans didn't mind. It was all part of his scheme. More rapid than eagles, his henchmen they came, and he radioed and shouted and called them by name. Now Eddie, now James, now Franco, now Yuli, on Fritz and on Carl, hair long and unruly. And you can kind of see some of these more European hairdos of the late 1980s here. They shot the SWAT tank with a surface-to-air missile and knocked it away like the down of a thistle. Now John McClane was angry indeed. He blew up 2 terrorists and called them jerkweed. Ellis told Hans, "Booby, I'm your white knight." Hans shot him dead, giving the hostages a fright. Hans went to go check on the explosives fuse and saw that poor John was wearing no shoes. John fled from Carl and Hans, but alas, he had to run barefoot over sharp, broken glass. His feet, how they hurt, his soles oh so bloody. John crawled onto the bathroom and called his good buddy. John was weary and ready to throw in the towel until he got a pep talk from Sergeant Al Powell. Powell was chubby and plump, a right jolly old cop, and he trusted the cowboy and the tattered tank top. You see them having a good time chit-chatting over the radio systems here, from Nakatomi Plaza to the police down in the parking lot down below. But a reporter was probing into McClane's life and revealed that Holly was actually John's wife. Hans quickly flipped over the gold picture frame. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. McClane." His clothes all tarnished with ashes and soot, John staggered to the roof, bloody and barefoot. The explosives were wired to the rooftop with care, in hopes that the hostages soon would be there. John warned everyone the roof would soon blow, as the Joppa strafed him with high-powered ammo. Around his waist he tied a fire hose tight, and screaming on oath, jumped into the night. He dangled in the air and gritted his teeth, while flames encircled the tower like a wreath. Fiercely fighting his way back inside, John yelled out, "Hans!" He was done trying to hide. He limped to the vault like an old man on crutches, only to find Holly in his filthy clutches. John dropped his gun, put his hands on his head. It seemed he and Holly soon would be dead. But with the secret gun taped to his back, John shot Hans in a surprise attack. Hans fell out the window, still holding Holly's arm, and slowly, deliberately raised his firearm. The tenacious villain held on by his nails, till John unhooked Holly's watch and said, "Happy trails." Bearer bonds flooded like fresh fallen snow, as Holly embraced her blood-spattered beau. So Merry Christmas to all, be kind to one another, and most of all, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. And that's it. That's the story. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll have one more cookie. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. Please have a lovely holiday. most importantly,